Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video on this channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Mama Awards and all the controversies surrounding them. I'll be sharing my opinions throughout this video, so feel free to leave yours in the comments. So without any further delay, let's get started. The first and most talked about controversy is the change in the Best Rookie category, since previously it was divided into male and female groups, which allowed 2 rookie awards to be given. Now the category has been merged and only 1 award will be given, and many people are pointing out that this might have been done to favor allday project, a mixed group under the black label. If we look back at the history of the Mama Awards, the Best New Artist category has almost always been gender separated, except in 2014, and from 1999, when the awards first started, until around 2007, sometimes it was split between soloists and groups. But to sum it up, in recent years the rookie group categories for male and female artists had never been combined before. And honestly, I completely understand why people are confused, because for almost every award that's given directly to the artists, except for Artist of the Year, there's always been a separation between male and female groups. This not only allows 2 groups to be recognized, but it also makes sense since both usually bring very different things to the table, and it's hard to compare them, for me. The clearest example of that was in 2019, with Tomorrow by Together and itzy. Both were clearly the best groups of their respective categories, but it would have been really difficult to choose only one since they were so different. Now, it's true that allday project has both the numbers and the recognition to at least be nominated for Rookie of the Year, and that's where the problem starts. Which category do you put them in? They're not a female group or a male group, and creating a completely separate category just for them would basically mean handing them the award directly, because honestly, no other mixed rookie group has been as relevant this year, if any others even debuted at all. The thing is, this isn't the first time a mixed group has debuted and sparked this debate. KARD debuted back in 2017 as a co-ed group, and their debut was strong enough that they could have been considered for Best New Artist, but they were never nominated, most likely because they didn't fit neatly into either the male or female group categories. So we can assume that back then Mama didn't try to find a solution, but maybe now they finally did. People believe that the reason Mama decided to merge the categories this year to include mixed groups might be because it directly benefits allday project. It's well known that one of the members of the group, Annie, comes from a very prominent business family. She's the daughter of the president of Shinseok Group and the granddaughter of Lee Myung-hee, who is connected to the Samsung Group conglomerate, and although that's obviously a very powerful family, they don't actually have any direct connection to CJ Entertainment, the company behind the Mama Awards. I've seen a few tweets claiming that Annie's mother's cousin is Lee Jae-hyun, the chairman of CJ Group, but after looking into it, I couldn't really find any reliable source for that information. What I did find is that Annie is technically a second cousin of the great-grandchildren of the original founder of the business that later evolved into CJ Group, but that's a very distant, complicated connection, so in reality there's no real link between Annie, anyone from allday project, and the Mama Awards. So then, why does it feel like they changed the rookie category just to include them? Well, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't the first time this has happened. Back in 2014, Mama also merged the rookie categories, and do you know why? Because mamamoo, a mixed duo, debuted that year and had really strong numbers, so they were considered serious contenders for Best New Artist. But here's where I'm going to be completely honest and share my opinion. mamamoo genuinely had a solid chance of winning back then, and I understand why the award organizers wanted to adjust the rules to include them. However, this situation is totally different from allday project's case. If you've been following 4th-generation groups, you'll know that Hearts 2 Hearts and Quartus have clearly been leading their respective categories this year. They've dominated in performance, charting, and public presence. Allday project hasn't done badly at all, but they're undeniably several steps below those two. So the fact that they changed an entire category just to include a group that doesn't really stand a chance of winning feels odd, to say the least. So what are the voting criteria this year? According to the information released, the breakdown is as follows. Album sales 40%, digital performance 25%, judges evaluation 20%, global recognition 15%. Some of these categories are a bit tricky to measure, especially the judges evaluation and global recognition, since those aren't as transparent or data-based, but if we focus on the numbers we do have, things get clearer. Out of the 9 nominees, allday project ranks second to last in album sales, And when it comes to digital performance, if we go by Spotify data, they're sitting around 4th place, which means that, realistically, the groups with the highest chances of winning are Chorus and Hearts to Hearts. What I do find a bit strange, though, is that in the Fans' Choice category, allday Project is being listed as a female group. So if they can make exceptions like that in some categories, why can't they do the same for the rookie one? Honestly, I think the whole system of merging or separating categories depending on whether a mixed group debuts that year feels unfair. They should really find another way to include these groups without reducing the number of rookie awards, because by doing this, they're basically taking away recognition from one group that deserves a win just to make room for another. That said, I don't personally believe this is a case of nepotism, or that they're doing all this because it's allday Project. I genuinely think that if any other mixed group had debuted with the same level of success, they would have made the same change. Of course, that's just my opinion. What is weird, however, is that they've also changed the percentage weights for several major categories. For example, the judges' score used to account for around 20%, but now it's been raised to about 40%, while the weight given to album sales and other quantitative data has been reduced. I'm not saying that means there's going to be manipulation, but it definitely opens the door for it. A 40% influence from the judges is enough to practically decide the winner, even if the public numbers point somewhere else. And fans can't really complain, because technically it's all official. Instead of being decided mainly through objective stats and fan votes, more power is now in the hands of a small panel of people, whose opinions don't necessarily reflect what the public thinks. I wouldn't go as far as calling it rigged yet, since the winners haven't been announced, but if the awards end up going to someone unexpected, we'll all know exactly where to look. I've also seen a few more controversies involving groups that weren't nominated, whose fans believe they should have been, and honestly, this happens every single year. The one that always makes me laugh the most, though, is the dance categories, because it feels like they just pick the most popular groups rather than actually evaluating whether the choreography is technically good or creative. Like, come on, there are plenty of neew, lesser-known groups out there with amazing choreographies, but somehow, they never seem to get any recognition in this category. Every dance category has at least 1 or 2 nominations that just don't make sense, but I'll focus on the female solo one for a second. Look at the nominees and tell me you don't see at least 3 that shouldn't be there. The songs are great, sure, but the choreography is mid at best. And don't even get me started on the Best Music Video nominations. The fact that some of the nominated MVs actually contain AI-generated elements is just awful. Like, how do you celebrate that when it takes away work from real artists and production teams? There have been other smaller controversies too, like with the mama logo this year. Many Korean netizens are pointing out how strange it feels that they decided to write it in Hangul again, after years of pushing so hard for international recognition and global branding. It's not necessarily bad, but the sudden switch definitely got people talking. Anyway, there are so many little things to unpack about this year's show, but I think I'll stop here for now, otherwise, this video would last an hour.
And this has been all. I hope you like it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did, it would help me a lot. See ya.